There's a state of mind where your best work happens seamlessly. Time seems to disappear. You're fully absorbed, and you're performing at this level that you didn't even know was possible. Athletes call this being in the zone. Artists call this being one with their work. And psychologists call this flow. Most people only get to experience this state of mind by accident. But what if I told you there's a way to access this state whenever you want? What if I told you there were certain conditions you could put into place that would make it much more likely for you to enter flow? Let me explain how this works. When you think about flow, maybe there's a specific situation that comes to mind. Maybe you were writing and time flew by like that. Maybe you were playing a sport and you felt like you were one with the task and everything was just going perfectly. This is the state of mind the psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi spent his entire career researching. And he found that the mind state of flow, this optimal human experience in his words, has certain conditions. Effortless action, complete absorption in the task, loss of self-consciousness, a distorted sense of time. This is why so many athletes, entrepreneurs, speakers, writers, and other forms of creators just seem to get in that zone where everything just happens naturally. And this state of mind doesn't happen because they're trying to force performance. They're not over-fixating on doing their best. Their performance just happens naturally. It's seamless. And that's why this state is so powerful. But if this state is so powerful, if it is such a profound human experience, then why is it so rare? This has nothing to do with a lack of talent, a lack of intelligence, or a lack of trying hard. But it's because the modern world is set up in a way that prevents flow. Think about it. We're always being interrupted. Our attention is always being split in these different directions. And when you can't single task focus on whatever it is you're trying to do, then that makes getting into flow states feel impossible. Along with this, the hustle culture gurus online have been telling us for years, hey, you're gonna do all these different things, you're gonna be more productive, you need to get more things done in a shorter period of time. But ultimately what this has done is it's made us anxious. It's made us scattered. It's made us feel inadequate when we're doing one single task, even if we're doing that one single task at a high level. You see, our brains have evolved for deep, sustained attention. But the way we're living these days is completely against that evolution. We're going against our hard wiring. And another reason why getting into flow feels so rare these days is because, quite honestly, people aren't really living. One of the precursors to entering flow is being mindful. That is full presence in the moment where you're noticing everything around you. You're one with the present moment. But many of us these days, we're sleepwalking from morning until night. We wake up, we check our phone, we go through our morning routine while distracted by something else. We drive to work or wherever else we gotta be. And then we drive back home and then we distract ourselves with hours of TV or social media and bad food and bad habits. And then we do the same thing over and over and over again. These subconscious behaviors are so deeply ingrained within our minds that we just live on autopilot. We don't question what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. We don't question what we're thinking on a day-to-day basis. And this is why so many folks fall into the same repeatable patterns, doing the same thing day after day after day. When you're living on autopilot, it takes you out of the present moment. And when you're taken out of the present moment, then the experience of flow is impossible. This is why it's so important to get clear on what your values are, get clear on what your goals are, and get clear on what you're moving away from. When you can do that, then it's much more enjoyable and fulfilling to live in the present moment. Because if you have no clear goal, then you have no flow. If you have no presence, then you have no flow. You need both of them to work together. Flow requires that single-pointed attention, and the modern world is set up in a way that splits our attention. And the thing is, it's tragic, because flow isn't just this nice feeling. Flow is the optimal human experience. Flow is the place where you can truly see what your capabilities are. And when you're in that state of flow, mental noise just vanishes. The path forward becomes crystal clear and you know exactly what it is you have to do. And you know deep within your body, within your mind, within your soul, that you have all the capabilities you need in order to get that task done. And the cool thing is that every time you access flow, you're training your brain to operate at that higher level. It gets used to that state. It remembers what conditions were present when you first entered flow. And the more you do something, the stronger the hardwiring gets within your brain. So now that you understand what flow is and the benefits of being in flow, how can we access this state of mind? What can you do? I used to think flow involved having the perfect playlist or drinking the perfectly hot coffee and sitting in the perfect environment when I'm trying to do my work. Now, of course, these things can help, but ultimately they aren't the main contributors to getting into this state of mind. What's helped me the most is mindfulness. This is complete awareness of the present moment that I'm in right now. Now look, before you tune out, I know that word seems very woo-woo. It seems like, yeah, man, just be mindful, just do it, yeah, you got this, bro. But no, there's legitimate science that backs this up. You see, mindfulness is the practice of directing your attention to the present moment. There's no spirituality involved, there's no chanting, there's no praying, there's no deep meditation or anything like that. It's just pure presence and choosing where you want to direct your attention. And every time you practice this, every time you become consciously aware of where your attention is going and direct it back to whatever it is you're trying to do, you're strengthening the neural pathways that control focus. Even just 5 to 10 minutes every single day, that is very powerful. You're making profound changes at the neurological level within your brain. And the more you do this, the easier it is to drop into flow when it matters most. Knowing that mindfulness is what you should do just isn't enough. I want to give you a clear roadmap. Specific things you can do every single day to develop this muscle within your mind. You can take this 3-part approach before any deep work session or before any big event where you need to perform at your very best. The first thing is spending 5 minutes doing nothing. You want to do this right before you do whatever that important task is. What this does is it allows all those thoughts within your minds to just come to the surface. And you can become aware of those thoughts. You can say, okay, yep, that's something that I can attend to. That's something I can do later. That's something that I don't need to worry about. You can say, yep, okay, that thing I gotta do later, okay, I will take care of it. And just cast it aside. Or if something you said in a conversation yesterday comes to mind, you can be like, yeah, well, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but that's okay. That's in the past and I can't change what's done. And then you can cast it aside. This is very powerful to do before you do your work because you don't want these thoughts coming to mind as you're trying to get in the zone. Because if your mind is filling with all these thoughts and these limiting beliefs and these worries as you're doing work, then that prevents you from getting into flow. And we don't want that. Number 2 is clarifying your objectives. So this is something you want to do after those 5 minutes in silence. You want to sit down either with a pen and paper or on your laptop or your phone or whatever else and say, okay, why am I doing this? What is the specific outcome I'm trying to achieve by doing this task? Because otherwise, if you're vague, then you have no mental clarity. And without mental clarity, then you're going to get exhausted when you're doing whatever that task is. And of course, if you're exhausted, then you won't perform at your best and you won't enter flow. Your brain hates ambiguity. So give it a target to aim at and a reason why you're doing whatever it is you're doing. Number 3 is a pre-performance ritual. You want to do something simple and preferably with your physical body that signals to your mind that, hey, we're about to lock in. We're about to really focus on this task and we're trying to enter flow. Some people like to do breath work. Some people like to do push-ups and get their body moving. Either way, you're going to find what works best for you. What I've found is intentional breath work paired with a visualization of what it is I'll be doing with that task. And the main thing with this is consistency. Because the more you do it, the more your brain gets used to doing that task before you enter flow. And eventually, it creates this association where the pre-performance ritual and the task itself become one. And after you've done this, then it's time to get to work. Now, here's another thing to consider. Once you start working with whatever that task is, don't stop. Because if you do, then you're inviting your logical thinking brain to come back to the executive. And then you'll begin overthinking everything you do. You'll begin worrying about if you're performing at your best. And you'll be getting deep into your thoughts when you don't want to be deep in your thoughts when you're trying to enter flow. When you overanalyze what it is you're doing, that takes you out of the moment. That ruins your momentum. And when you ruin your momentum, it's very difficult to keep moving forward and enter that flow state. Flow isn't some magical or mystical mystery. It's something that anybody can experience. And with the right approach, you can enter the state pretty damn often. Because as I mentioned within this video, all the things that you do, they're a skill. And like any other skill, the more you do it, the more your brain gets used to doing it. And your neural circuitry will evolve, it will hardwire to enter those flow states way more often. The modern world is set up in a way that wants to pull your attention. It wants you mentally scattered. But if you're conscious and intentional with your attention, then you can prevent this from happening. You can drop into flow whenever you want. And when you can drop into flow whenever you want, you can make meaningful progress towards whatever it is you're working towards. That's powerful. So practice being mindful. Set your clear objectives before you do deep and meaningful work. And practice that pre-flow ritual. Your best work is on the other side of a powerful flow state. It's your job to get there. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more just like this. And if you're somebody who's stressed, overwhelmed, you're always overthinking, and this is really holding you back professionally or in your personal life, then check out that link below to book a one-to-one strategy call with me. Once again, I really appreciate you watching this. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.